Hello everyone, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to the Wolf Podcast, where we talk about the 22nd episode of Persona 5 the animation. Is it our fault? With me today is... And you shut up.
God damn it. Hello everyone, I am DMA Kami, DM.3000.
Hey everyone, this is FlOrangey. God damn.
Hey everyone, this is Mario Fanboy 15, aka that guy that wants TV tropes to notice this.
If TV tropes ever noticed us, noticed this podcast, I would be surprised as all hell. Like, seriously.
Oh my god.
Like, I would just quit right there. That's it. This is the height of my YouTube career. Well, this is the height of our YouTube career. It's over. We can all go home now.
Well, Cole already had her TV tropes notice.
Yeah, TV tropes noticed me with my Persona 5 fanfic. Read it.
Right. That's true. That is true.
Oh yeah, and I still remember that because I was feeling kind of sick that day, and I almost lost my voice from screaming in excitement.
Oh my god. But anyways, before we get things started, any kind of comparisons that we make to the game and animation are purely done for analytical reasons. And to give a quick synopsis on what's going on, this is after the mental shutdown of Okumura, which of course leads to his death, and this leads to the general public, like, heavily going against the Phantom Thieves, like to the point that they're saying they need to be given the death penalty, and not to mention the police are not only mobilizing, thanks to Sai Nijima being given complete control of a police force to basically investigate the Phantom Thieves even further, but as well as the fact that they're possibly being set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
Holy Christ on a bike. This episode literally hits with all cylinders.
Yeah, especially with all the heavy stuff. And then Ren hangs out with a bunch of people.
Yeah, he does. But then again, it's because, as was said, they had to lay low. They had to take things easy for the time being. But anyways,
Don't stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that also makes me wonder about certain things Ren might do. But yeah, that might be later on.
Yeah, but anyways, Dean, give your thoughts about the episode.
Okay, I was also curious about how they would handle, like, the aftermath of Okumura's death, just because, like, this is, like, the turning point where the shit hits the fan. And considering on how Persona 5 has this, like, immensely differently than Personas 3 and 4, because we never got a grand scale where the whole world is turning up against, like, these 8 teenagers. So I was curious about, like, how they would handle that as well as tie that into the story. And a lot of it is, I think, stays in line with the game. I don't think there was many parts in where they deviated too much, except for when they actually went to Ren hanging out with everyone. And man, did he hang out with tons of people! And I was surprised on the confidants that he actually hung out with for that one, and actually genuinely starting Hifumi. Thank God.
Yeah, like, that kind of stuff we'll get into comparisons, but there is, like, here's the thing. I like that they had Ren hanging out with, like, you know, different people and otherwise, because it does play into one of the biggest differences this episode has compared to the game, but again, I will discuss that in comparisons and differences.
Yeah. And what I did like most about this one is that it is mostly just, like, looking at it like a different scale, like, rather than just like, oh, it's just Ren hanging out with a bunch of people. This is basically Ren trying to Ren, as well as the rest of the Phantom Thieves, trying to resolve themselves after what had just happened, because they were questioning on whether they were the ones that did it or if this was just a fluke. And, well, the whole world is basically coming down on them. So this was more or less like a chance for all of them to recover, and more so particularly Ren.
Wait, who's the 8th teenager? Oh wait, Morgana's there. Never mind.
Well, 8 troublemakers, because that's what they all are.
I'm sorry, my head is killing me, so my brain is off.
8 troublemakers. Okay, that there. And, or how about those 7 kids and their those 7 meddling kids and their cat?
please excuse Cole. Her brain has left the building.
My brain left the building yesterday. I've been basically running on fumes. Curse the 7-day work week.
Oh,
Ouch.
man. Ouch. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Dean?
No, I enjoyed this episode overall. Like, I thought that this was like I feel that this is the right point in time for them to actually start going through some confidants, because this is basically the point where the Band of Thieves are extremely morally questioned, and it works well for the story.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah, so if the following episodes want to go through some confidants, I am more than happy about that.
So, Cole, your thoughts on the episode?
Assuming we have more episodes to go through. At this point, I can't tell anymore.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because there's a rumor going around about there being more than just the 24, 26 or so episodes that we thought we were getting.
Well, they frickin' should.
Huh?
They frickin' should have more than 24 episodes, because you can't do this game in such a limited amount of time.
You're right.
No,
You're
you
right.
can't.
No, you
You're
really
right,
can't.
You're right, Dean. They should exactly have 25 episodes.
Oh,
Will you
yeah,
stop it?
If this is gonna go into Persona 4 the animation with that stupid OVA bullshit, I am not gonna go over that.
Dude, Persona 5 Golden is just golden, like, animation. It's just horrible.
You said Persona 5 Gold.
Yeah, golden animation, I said.
Yeah, but you said Persona 5 Golden.
Oh, 5.
Oh.
Fuck, 4. 4, you fucking moron. 4.
There you go.
God damn it.
Persona 4 is best Persona.
Indeed.
Though I disagree, I still say it's 3.
You're
You got
allowed
the
to have
movies.
your incredibly wrong opinion, Nelson.
Yes.
well, it's obviously the original Persona.
Oh, God.
no.
No.
Hell no.
No, the original Persona is objectively the worst Persona.
Yeah, Zach, you
Regardless
have
of
the
whether
wrong
it's
opinion.
the original, the remake, or the U.S. bastardization known as Revelations Persona.
Yeah, the 4 kids version.
Anyways, we are off topic. Cole, give your thoughts on the episode.
I have thoughts on the episode? Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay, in all seriousness, though, like, for me, this episode definitely felt like the straightest in terms of adapting from the game. But I can understand why. This is basically the big turning point in the plot, for a lack of a better term. And I think for the most part, they did it really well. I have to admit, I was a little bit surprised that this was when they chose to wrap up Mishima's Confidant. And on one hand, I like it, but on the other hand, there is stuff that they cut out of it that does make me go. That does make me go. Well, I feel like I needed to know a little bit more about this because it feels like it's suddenly wrapping up too quickly.
Yeah, I could see that though. I think I'm okay with the idea they handled Mishima's Confidence, because mostly how the show has handled his character, like this person that's been highly supportive of the Phantom Thieves, wanting to support them as much as they can, and then when it hits this kind of a bad head, he kind of hits that point of desperation where he's trying to get the thieves to become popular again by any means necessary.
Yeah, like, and this goes a little bit more into comparisons, but I'll just definitely say this. I do like how they twisted Mishima's around to being, like, the fanboy who's desperately holding on to something that gives him hope.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as that hope is threatened, he begins to become desperate in terms of his actions. I mean, literally, he almost posted on the website about a fucking purge.
Yeah, like, it's quite obvious that at this moment he's having a mental breakdown. I do admit, though, that I do miss the extra content that we got from Mishima's Confidant from the game, but we'll get to that at a later point. But I will say I have some issues with the way Ons was handled. Zach wants to talk about this, so I'll let him have the floor. Beyond that, I really liked how we got to start Hifumi's About Damn Time. And Shinya's cameo! I am so happy to see him.
Oh,
And
this precious boy.
I gotta chuckle how Ren was thinking about, like, how to use a gun from watching Shinya. That was a nice little, like, little tie-in towards what Shinya does for you in the game.
Dude, that picture of Ren, imagining him having guns, that can be taken so out of context.
Oh, go to the fucking corner, kid. Come on.
What?
Cole, I said that Ren, Ren imagining like with the gun, guns in his hand, that could be taken so out of context.
Stop, dude. Just stop.
So he's a hitman now?
Dude, if Ren ever does that with 2 pistols, I will love this anime forever.
Ooh, they should totally do that then. Actually, honestly, they should do that.
Yeah, they should.
Dual-wielding Ren.
Yeah, they should.
Mod that.
They should. That would be fucking... Dude, imagine that. Just dual-wielding Ren and even doing the Hitman pose at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So is Ren gonna be wearing disguises now?
I mean, he already wears a freaking outfit to disguise himself, so yes, maybe.
It works.
So it works. And hell, he wears glasses for no reason besides hiding his identity. Remember, that's the whole ploy of him wearing glasses, because he doesn't even need them.
Or in this episode's case, we saw the return of edgy glasses Ren.
No, we've still seen that within episodes. It just doesn't happen as often.
Yeah. But I guess in this one, it doesn't bother me too much because this is when they're being interrogated. He's going to want to hide behind them more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's one thing I definitely want to bring up as well, the interrogation, when we get the comparisons and differences. Anyways, Zach, I think Cole wanted to give you the floor on your thoughts on the episode, so go for it.
Well, when it comes to the on stuff, I actually want to get into like the comparisons. So,
all right, well, still, give your general thoughts on the episode.
Well, all right. First thing I want to say, and this is something Cole pointed out to me. Not only was Haru edits the intro, but she pretty much replaced Akechi's picture in the intro as well.
Yeah. They just gradually add them in just because of who's the relevant party for that. Because Sai Nijima was part of it before Futaba replaced her.
Wait, Sai was?
Yeah, she was.
Sai was in the intro.
Oh, right, she was.
I hate this new intro though. I just hate it.
We all do. Okay, I hate to go on this tangent. I hate it when we have the intros of animes just basically be like a clip show of animation that we've already seen in the actual anime. Yeah, and that's the thing that this anime goes with.
And it was so much better, the old intro. The new outro is fucking cool. I'm not going to deny that.
Oh, I love the outro. That's the best thing about it, just because it actually replicates the freaking calendar.
Mm-hmm.
It replicates the calendar, just seeing the Morgana mobile driving.
And to bouncing to the music.
Yeah.
That was rad.
But as Nelson Cole said, like, a few episodes ago, the new intro just feels like, an AMV that's constantly updating each month.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like. And yeah, I'm a little away from my mic. Sorry. That's what it That's what it unfortunately feels like. It's like it just feels like an AMV that's constantly being updated, and it's like one of those. What's the best way to put it? Besides an AMV, it's a fanfic basically. It's basically when someone just stealth edits the fanfic with new details without people noticing.
And that's not to say anything bad against AMVs or fanfics. There's a lot of really, really good ones out there, but this is just lazy for a proper full-budget production.
Also, nothing wrong with stealth edits in fanfiction. If it's, like, small, then go for it. Like, I'm gonna have to fucking do for one of my chapters, because...
Genre.
Yeah, shut up.
You're welcome.
Shut up. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. No, but I'm talking about when you do full-on edits and people are like, wait, what? This wasn't there? That's what this intro's like. It's like they're just adding more things and people are like, wait, that wasn't there? Why did they add that there? Just like, stop
and
it.
It's so baffling because the old one was just was almost new footage entirely.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about like the original, or at least the first 12 episodes having the animation for the intro, because those are completely original animation. Yeah, for the exception being for like the first 4 episodes, I believe, because they either lacked an intro or had one of those, boring let's use clips intro. But
since I remember right, they first used the intro in episode 2, which like basically from the trailer, and they didn't have one for episodes 1 and 3. But then they start using like the new animation for episode 4.
Yeah.
Ironic, considering how much we looked down on that episode.
Yeah, for a few reasons. But anyways, Zach, keep giving your reasons on the episode.
Yes. Another thing I want to say, to continue the tradition of it's like this product, but they changed the name to avoid copyright. When you see Hifumi's poster, where is it? On the start, not the start. Wow, on the bottom, where is it?
Where are you even going? Where are you even going? Are you talking about the episode anymore?
Okay. I found back in my notes. On the bottom of Hifumi's poster, it says Ringo Store and Goo Play. Apple Store and Google Play.
Just.
Yeah, right.
We're just like.
What?
Like, where's
Ringo?
Where is this even going anymore?
What was it again? Ringo Store?
Ringo Store and Goo Play. Goo Play.
Oh, man.
Ringo Store. God damn it. That's the Japanese word for Apple.
Yes, it is.
God
Oh
damn it.
my god.
That is clever. That is clever.
Oh, cheeky animators.
I see what you did there.
Anyways, Zach, keep giving your thoughts on the episode.
Well, since you guys brought up Makoto earlier, Cole brought this up to me. Gas! Makoto actually wears different clothes.
And that was great.
What's that?
I know, right?
She wears like a turtleneck as like her casual wear. It's different from what she wears normally, I think.
Actually,
too.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. Never mind.
You were saying that you thought that might have been from the turtleneck from her uniform. That's what I thought too for a while.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, the turtleneck uniforms usually have like a logo on the sides as well. So that's kind of the consistent thing with the turtleneck. So that's out the window.
The other thing I wanted to say, I definitely noticed this on my first time watching it, but when they cut to like the classroom with the teacher Kawakami talking, she looks so dead. Nothing is moving. She looks so dead with like those eyes and things.
Yeah,
That's actually kind of replicating for her character, considering that she's kind of dead inside.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she's very monotone and otherwise. So.
Which just reminds me, we haven't seen her in the maid thing in a while.
Unless,
yeah, technically we haven't wrapped up that subplot.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Unless like Ren just has her do her does him a few favors from time to time.
Yeah.
And I wrote this down in my notes because I thought it was funny. But when Ren is talking to Hifumi at the church, I was just like, she's just like, you have a strange charm. She's like, oh, yes, a strange charm. Ren has a strange charm.
He needs level 3 charm in order to talk to him, I think.
I hate to be that guy, but everything you've done so far, Zachary, none of it has been about your thoughts about the episode. It's all been references or small little like bits of.
This is the Zachary nitpick hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like none of it has been what you thought about the episode. It's only been about the small bits.
Hey, did you know that Akechi only appeared once in this episode?
Oh,
In the very beginning?
I hate.
Oh, there's an extra mask during the end credits sequence.
Can you
Funny enough,
please?
I did write that in my notes.
Can you please stop, Zach? Like
The reason I'm bringing up these small stuff is because most of my thoughts are actually in the comparisons, but suffice to say, I actually do really like this episode, other than one thing. I have a bone to pick with, but I generally like the episode, and I like how the anime has pretty much has an excuse to like focus on the confidants, and I like as cool as Shinya's cameo, how we start Hifumi is and all other jazz. Oh, and we can say it now, but we're getting started. Since it's mentioned in the post credits, but we can finally say that we're starting on Sai now. Sai's parts.
Yeah, because we know
she's the next target.
Yeah, she was the next target, so we know she has a palace and such.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It also seems like the school festival's coming up soon.
Oh boy, I'm curious about how they're going to handle that. But to give my thoughts real quick.
Well, if the next episode title is anything to go by.
Well, I'm curious about who they're gonna embarrass. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I've always loved you.
Anyways, to give my thoughts about the episode, this episode played it very straight in terms of like what it does compared to the game. Like, it's basically again like pretty much the fall of the Phantom Thieves. Everyone's renouncing them. Everyone's saying that they deserve to die and yada yada yada. And we're seeing like the group kind of their resolve being broken. Like they're wondering if this was completely their fault. Ergo, the title of the episode. And they're just kind of unsure about what they should do next and such. Hell, they even feel like they're being set up, and they got pretty much the best investigative force in Japan after their asses.
Mm-hmm.
Which literally, as said in the game, and this is actually confirmed by someone else I watch, a German spy. He literally says this. Japanese, Japanese investigations yield a 99.9% success rate. Now,
yeah, I fact checked that myself. I fact checked that myself too. That is a horrifying conviction rate.
And the worst
Isn't
part.
That,
and here's the thing.
Here's
Sorry, I was just going to say this real quick because German Spy says this. Here's the thing. Not all convictions are true, but they will do whatever it takes to get a confession, even if it means forging one.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't there like some, either some dubious thing that goes out, like either beating the shit out of folks in order to get a,
Yes.
a confession, or
Yes.
like using or forging evidence?
Yes, Japan doesn't have the same kind of laws towards criminals that we do here in the West. Here in the United States, criminals do get some degree of rights and otherwise. This prevents the situation of them being treated like dogs, them being beaten to death by guardsmen and otherwise. Japan doesn't have those laws. They will very much beat the living crap out of someone, use truth serum, which we see at the very beginning of the freaking series, forge an actual confession, or hell, even kill a criminal if they feel the need to, without the need to explain themselves or justify themselves.
Having dug a little bit into myself, I think there are some protection laws. The problem is that they aren't actually enforced.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're not enforced. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, the West has enforces these kind of laws. Like, sometimes things happen in the West, but a lot of the time when some bad shit happens to a criminal, the public's gonna find out, because that kind of stuff doesn't fly out here. But
yeah, especially with the modernization of social media, there's a constant backlash whenever there's something unlawful that happens.
And this just kind of goes to show, that Japan is kind of behind the times.
No, they are. They're woefully behind compared to the rest of the developed world. And that's no offense to anyone who was from Japan or otherwise, but it's just true. Socially and to some degree in law, Japan is behind on the times, unfortunately. Technologically, they're far ahead of us and otherwise. But when it comes, why do you think there's so many cases of suicide and otherwise in Japan? It's because of how socially behind they are. But
it's just the culture thing for them.
But that's a different discussion for a different day. If you want to know that discussion, check out German Spy's playthrough, because he goes into full detail about Japan culture and otherwise. But the thing is,
or check out your local library for any listings.
or watch or watch NHK World Television, because they do a great thing with begin Japanology and such. But anyway,
There's also several really Japanese YouTubers out there that do discuss these kinds of cultural differences in detail.
yeah. But anyways, to get back on topic, this actually does perfectly transition me into the comparisons, because one of the comparisons that I did notice was when they were interrogating everyone in the school. The one thing I took note of is how the police took note of Ren's group of friends, two of them being Yusuke and Haru.
Mm-hmm.
When I noticed that, because the game didn't do that, it honestly didn't like bring that to attention. It did talk about, like, it did talk about if he knew about Yusuke or otherwise, but it never brought up the idea that, oh, they knew that he was friends with Yusuke and Haru.
But I thought it did, or at least it mentioned Yusuke.
Yeah, but not Haru. And when I thought about that, when I saw that, I was immediately like, that's fucking bad, because that means that the police are already like narrowing down a suspect list.
I also have to be honest, and it could just be a difference between the voices and the translation, but the police officer seemed in the Japanese in this anime seemed a little bit more on the nose or tongue-in-cheek than the one in the game that sounded more like he was just starting to get bored.
Yeah, well, then again, he has been doing it all day, basically, so I wouldn't blame him for being bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it was just more like the different mindsets, because I think that a detective over there would probably be a bit more serious on the matter. So,
but
that's at least what I was thinking.
And
Just look at Akechi.
actually, that's kind of what brings up my biggest theory. I think Akechi is the one who narrowed it down for them. I mean, he's working with the police. Think about that for a moment.
I can see that, honestly.
I can see that
honestly,
as
if that's
well.
also true, that's going to seriously piss off Sai when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly, because if Akechi is, as he says, working close-handed with the police, which it's been very much confirmed he is, it's very likely than not that he's the one that brought up the idea of keeping an eye on each of the victims of each case. And the two most prominent victims from, two of the cases, Haru Okumura and Yusuke Kitagawa.
Yep.
And we have shown before that Akechi is intelligent and actually very competent in his work, so it would be like a good tip from the police, especially to listen to the detective prince of that city, to take note of that.
And
and the anime has done a very good job of going out of its way to show us that yes, Akechi is good at his job.
And not to mention the biggest
the game.
And not to mention the biggest reason why I brought this up is because that actually makes it very easy for the police to narrow down suspects, because there are only a few people who are either connected to these two or outright friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it might come down to Ren.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Ren is the only connecting... And here's the thing. Even if they were to narrow that down to, like, the others, like Ryuji, On, and otherwise, they can narrow that down to the first person that's related to all of them. A.K.A. Ren. He...
The one thing I was about to...
And it doesn't help either that he already has a record.
And you want to know what? This actually... Here's the thing. This works far better for the game's, like, run out of time segment, because after like I believe, like, before and after Okumura's palace, the police arrest you because they figure out you're the leader of the Phantom Thieves. Here it makes more sense because they're narrowing it down. So yeah, it's like, give enough time, the police will narrow it down to Ren is the leader of the Phantom Thieves. That's fucking scary to think about. And it actually...
Wait, are you referring to the bad ending, or...
The bad endings, like when you run out of time.
Yeah, okay. I was confused for a second, because I was like, wait, at no point do the police actually arrest Ren in the game unless you get the bad ending.
Yeah,
now I get what you're talking about.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It makes those make more sense, because in the game, it's a little on the nose that the police figured out Ren was the leader of the Phantom Thieves, but here with this episode, it very much makes it clear that they already have a good idea of what to look for, meaning that if given enough time, a couple of weeks or so, they will narrow it down to Ren, and they will figure out that he's the leader of the Phantom Thieves, and at that point, he and his friends are fucked.
Yep.
As well, since you brought it up earlier, I'm just like, oh god, I hope Akechi wasn't keeping a close eye on Shiho since she was a victim.
Well, she was a victim, but there's the thing: who would she be related to? On, and who's on, and who's on related? Who related to?
Ren.
Yeah, because remember, Ren spoke with On multiple times beforehand, and even then, you could still make the relation to Ryuji, who again has relation to Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ren is the common thread to everything, and he has a criminal record, so he's the most viable for that. Or at least the one that's probably the easiest target.
And not to mention, he came around the time when the mental shutdowns were only starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I guess that's a good attribution towards his character, because he still has the conviction to still do the right thing, even though everything is weighing against him.
Exactly, like everyone knows, like, and that's the thing. Like at this point, the noose is tightening more and more around their necks, and unless they do something, they're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing that this episode did with that scene. And when I think about it further, it just makes me be more impressive with it, because it's like they don't make the police to be incompetent; they make them to be very fucking smart, and they make it very clear they're probably weeks away from figuring out who's the leader of the Phantom Thieves. At most, weeks.
Which is in line with the game pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something that I actually do want to attribute to Ren's character in this, because it was always I was questioning about how they would handle Ren's character throughout the story, because we already got this idea of Akira being basically a badass, loving every minute of what he's doing and all that stuff. And Ren is a lot more reserved compared to how we would think that Akira would have handled things. And I think what I like most about Ren in this one is that he has that sort of a subdued sense of justice. He knows he's doing the right thing, and he's willing to risk his life in order to do so. And it's more so portrayed here because the world is pretty much going to go up against him at this point, especially with the Phantom Thieves being on the rise and treated like criminals. Him being basically the prime target by the police.
That's actually another difference that I wanted to...
I was about to...
Yeah, go ahead, say it.
Yeah, I was about to say, one thing I do really like that is a difference is you see around the train, and you actually see a few people still supporting the Phantom Thieves.
Which is good. Honestly, that does give the idea that even if everybody is completely against the Phantom Thieves, there are still one or two people out there that literally said, we need, we still need the Phantom Thieves. Someone literally said, there's a problem I can't deal with, but the Phantom Thieves can.
Yeah, it's just that people do believe in their sense of justice.
And not to mention, we even get the line from Shinya literally saying that the thieves can't disappear. It's just it just goes more and more and more into the idea that, yes, most of the general public is against the thieves now, but there are still people that believe in them or feel as though that their presence is still necessary.
Still, it's always kind of scary how easily people's opinions can be swayed just because of one incident.
Oh,
yeah.
That definitely goes into the ills of society as a whole.
Yeah,
Indeed.
it is. It does, unfortunately, because it only, for a lot of people, it only takes one situation or one problem to just 180 everything you thought about things, and
that's even what Futaba says in the episode. Talk about 180.
Yeah, exactly. But that's actually, here's the thing, that's actually a difference that I really like about this episode. In the game, they just sort of regain their resolve to do all this immediately. Within the same day they're talking. Whereas here, however, it takes them a while. It takes them a while of, really thinking on things. Ren, of course, checking the fan sites, and not to mention some other things, which leads to, I know, what Zach wants to rant about. The whole thing went on. Just to say, just get my piece before Zachary goes into his rant. I personally don't mind it because it, again, gives On a reason to keep fighting as the thieves. I mean, her whole reason for becoming a Phantom Thief was because of what happened to Shiho. And she didn't want...
But it's also the same reason in her 9 as well.
What?
it's also her same reason as well, in her rank 9 in the game as well.
Yeah, but that's honestly, I don't mind that because, again, Ann's whole reason for being in the Phantom Thieves is because she didn't want to feel powerless. She didn't want anything to happen to her, or like anything that happened to Shio or her to happen to anyone else ever again. Because as she said multiple times, even in the game, Zachary, she felt powerless. She felt like she was weak. In fact, she compared herself so much to Shiho, who was going through physical therapy, trying to get herself back in a good state. She kept saying that she was weak compared to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know. This is something that you wish the animation explored more. Ann's confidency and even talking about Shiho more.
Yes, and they might do this in another episode, but now in hindsight, it feels like the modeling scene from a previous episode feels pointless now. They're not going to follow up on it.
Not really.
Not really.
Honestly, because modeling is just something that she sees as a hobby. She's not really fully dedicated into it.
But Ann's confidant is all about the idea of discovering what you want to do most with yourself, whether it's with the people you're with or realizing what you have in front of you and fully embrace it. Ann was always ostracized for things like her appearance and things like that, and one of the reasons why she liked hanging out with Shiho was because Shiho accepted her for who she was.
And
Ann wanted to get into acting because it was... But the thing is, as well, Ann's confidant justifies her Phantom Thief appearance. It's also why she wanted to get into acting and why she wanted to be stronger in the first place, too. Not just because of Shiho, but because of the people she idolized on television, the sexy supervillains that she liked, the ones that allowed her to portray and develop her own power fantasy.
Yeah.
And not to mention, at the end of the confidant, she pretty much says that she's going to do modeling full time. So there's that as well.
Like, I'm glad that we had with Shiho what we did, but it definitely feels like in comparison to Ryuji or Yosuke, fucking Yusuke.
Now look who's the one making mistakes.
Shut up. But in comparison to Ryuji and Yusuke and even Yosuke, I guess, of all people in Persona 4, it feels like Ann's confidant really barely touches the surface of who she is as a person. And Ann probably might have gotten the shaft in the main story, but I loved her confidant simply because of how introspective it was for her. At times she kind of came off as a bit ditzy, but she has so much heart.
Yeah, and I think they do portray that in the anime too, especially when she's able to relate with like Futaba, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, I totally understand why the anime. I totally understand why the anime didn't cover this, but I thought it'd be funny. But they totally did cover the part early on where Ann wants the main character to say mean things to her.
I have to be honest, Ann's confidant is probably one of those where if we got little clips of it over the entire season, it would probably not be an issue. But we got the thing in episode 3. We didn't get anything until I think maybe episode 18 or 19, and then it just resolves itself here.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, I don't know if I would say it's over because I don't know. It just seems like that they might do other things later. I don't know.
Yeah, do they have they have one step left to deal with, and even then that the rank 10 even had 2 parts where one was the modeling thing with Mika and then her having a personal talk with Ren. So I would say they do have room for them to actually do something with it and then do another thing later that more relates to their rank 10. So I think they still have time for that.
Yeah, exactly, because that's kind of what leads me to... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Oh, no, I'm done.
Nah, but this is kind of what leads me to say this. I don't think Mishima's confidant is over, if you ask me. I don't consider it over because, yes, he talks about the book that he wants to write about the Phantom Thieves, but I don't think that necessarily means his story is over. I mean, the one thing that I do like about Mishima's confidant that they did with the animation is that they made it more related to the story, like the popularity of the thieves. if you notice, like, his, like, you know, him becoming so bold and even considering himself to be an integral part of the Thieves, even when he really doesn't do much, only happens because the Thieves get popular. It actually makes his confidant from the game in translation actually work a little more in relation, because in the game, the way Mishima's confidant... Well, here's the thing. I think it's different... what's the best way to explain it? Mishima's confidant in the animation is handled in a different way compared to Mishima's confidant in the game. In the game, it talks about the whole idea of self-worth, because that's what Mishima struggles with. The idea that he's important, that he's not a zero, as he gets called by this one guy who bothers him a lot.
The bully.
Yeah, exactly.
The bully that came out of nowhere. Honestly.
Akiyama, I remember his name, Akiyama. But that's what I'm trying to say. It more or less delves into the idea of self-worth. Whereas here in the animation, yeah, it again falls into the idea of self-worth, but it's more in terms of him feeling as though that he's the reason that the Thieves are getting popular, that the fan site is a place for those that require the Thieves, and now that the general public is completely going against them, he feels like the world around him is crashing down, and he's trying to play damage control on something that he really shouldn't be pushing himself into.
I definitely get what you're saying, Nelson. That said and done, I think I still prefer the way the game handles it more, simply because the setting calls for... Simply because of the setting. How do I explain this in a way that makes sense? Mishima's feelings of of feeling worthless are because of the people around him. The bully, his previous school years, his parents turning a blind eye to the abuses of Kamoshida, which makes, at least to me, I completely forgot my train of thought. Good lord.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Basically, the whole idea is that, like, Mishima always felt like that he meant nothing in the grand scheme of things, that he was just a tool that was used by all these people, and now that he's being given a chance to actually become something important and not just another thing that's to be thrown away, he didn't want to lose that during his confidency. Like, even when people were telling him, oh, he's not worth much or whatever have you, all he wanted to do was just continue proving that, to the point that he became blinded in his ambition.
Exactly. Thank you. And some of that I'd argue, does come across a little bit in the anime, but it does change it does change the tune when you don't have that aspect, like the bullies around them. Because let's face it, we're influenced not just by who we are, but by the people around us.
Well, then again, I feel like the way the anime was handling Mishima's character is more along the ideas of feeling useless. Because in every situation that he was involved in, he felt like there was nothing he can do. He had no choice. I mean, look at the Kamoshida incident. Even when he spoke out against him, Kamoshida used the fact like, "Oh, you revealed his record. You revealed the record to everyone on the internet," and he literally just falls to the ground saying, "He made me to. I had no choice."
Yeah, like he was being used as a tool.
Again, yeah, it goes along on that idea. But then when the Phantom Thieves started kicking around, he felt like that he can, like, make his own decision on something, like do something that can actually be helpful. Sort of like almost as a way of making amends for all the bad stuff he did at one point. But again, he got blinded by the popularity.
Yeah, which they kind of don't dive into a lot of it too much, because like if you like see his confidant, there were just like many things that he was doing centering around him, like being around the Phantom Thieves a lot. Like, he tried to go on dates with folks that are fans of the site. He accepted donations and took it to a freaking, what was it, like the bar that they went to
buffet.
At one time?
The buffet.
Yeah, the buffet.
But he did give it back. That's at least one good thing.
Yeah, he gave it back. And gradually over on, he becomes, like, a little bit more distorted. Thus, we have, like, the moment where we encounter his freaking shadow.
Though then again, Mishima tries to break off with Ren immediately after meeting his shadow, whereas here, it just sort of feels like that he wants to write a story about the Phantom Thieves, which does give the indication that he is starting to change his tune, but for a different kind of reason.
Also, I could just say this: the conversation with the shadow in the anime. I honestly thought it was handled better here and better handled here than the game.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I think that it was good for an interpersonal conversation with between Ren, also to show his resolve, because I think that was the last thing they had before the episode ended.
Yeah.
Aside from
Also,
Ifumi.
seeing Ren's hand shake when he was seeing what Mishima tried to do, that gave us exactly the kind of emotion he was feeling right now, because this was his friend. In fact, you want to know what? This was literally the same kind of situation that Akechi pulled on him in a question. Remember when he asked Ren the question, how would you feel if the person right next to you went through a change of heart?
Mm-hmm.
Now he was put in the very same situation.
Yeah, and I think that was like the right moment for like a question like that, especially at this point in time for the episode.
Exactly. Does he forcibly change his heart because he's become like distorted? Or does he handle it in a different way? And as you saw, he handled it diplomatically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it actually did affect the real Mishima, which was still a really nice touch.
But then again, it's because after like Mishima was told what he was told by Ren, and then Ren and the group walking away, it did kick into this realization that if he continues down this path, he's going to not just lose. He's not only going to lose the popularity of the Phantom Thieves, at least in his distorted mind, but in the real world, he's going to lose them as friends.
I might as well say this. I'm so glad Ren was not the only one to talk to his shadow.
Yeah.
That's the best thing that we have about the anime is the fact that the main character can freaking talk, and the fact that Ren is a lot more bold when he's in the shadow world. So that does work to his benefit.
Well, I was about to say in the game when they visit the shadow, just like the other party members, they don't say like a damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And admittedly, a lot of that's just because of the way that the confidant system works. It's always the main character. It's rarely the other people. And that's always something I do like about the anime, that it does take advantage of the fact that everyone else is around and does include them. Like how Ryuji was there at the technical start of Futaba's arc. What else is there?
Well, if I could say this real quick, this is why I like Persona 3 as my favorite Persona game. Because...
wait. To answer Cole's question, Cole, we also had Ryuji and Kawakami.
Well, as I was trying to say, like, because this is actually relevant to the idea of the group interacting with Mishima instead of in the game where it was only just the main character. This is the reason why, like, this is why Persona 3 is my favorite. One of the reasons why Persona 3 is my favorite Persona game. It's because the story isn't just revolved around the main character; it's revolved around the group as a whole. Like, their stories evolve and coincide with the timeline of everything that's going on. So them having interaction with, like, different things that are going on within the story make a lot more sense. Unlike in, unfortunately, Persona 4 and even Persona 5, where it's more the main character making a lot of the actions and talking rather than the group as a whole. Especially...
I do see that perspective, and yeah, that is compliments to Persona 3 for that.
Yeah, the benefit of everyone technically being in the same dorm building.
Yeah, that's the benefit as well, instead of living in different homes.
Well, that... Go ahead, Zach.
I was about to say, funny that you mentioned how the confidants they rarely interact with each other. It's just like funny that you mentioned that since Anran interacts with Ryuji at the gym.
That's not much, though.
Yeah, that's really not much. And while I will admit I do like those little moments, there's definitely opportunity for more. Like, I'll say this about, as much as I have issues with Marie in Persona 4 Golden, the one thing I like the most about her confidant is that every party member at some point interacts with her in it.
And it does,
that's the major thing.
And it does lead to the entire group knowing who Marie is, even becoming friends with her.
Yeah, that's like the most beneficial thing about I have with Golden. In terms of like integrating Marie into the plot, like I thoroughly dislike how they handled it in the anime, but in the game, it was able to at least show them interacting and helping out with Marie in a more natural setting, rather than just forcing her into random stuff.
We're probably going to want to hurry this up because we're already 50 minutes in.
What?
Holy shit, how much longer were we talking?
We've been talking a lot about comparisons and otherwise, Man, so we have to think.
And me and Nelson are in a healthy debate on whether we like the anime Mishima or game Mishima more. I'm on game Mishima.
I am on game Mishima as well, but I don't mind anime Mishima, quite honestly.
Oh, I don't either. Like, Mishima's always kind of amused me because I remember the first time I started his confidant, I was like, I hate this guy so much. And then by like halfway through, I was like, dude, I totally get this guy. I know what it's like to be there.
Exactly. Like, I felt the same way. Yeah, I felt the same way about Mishima. Like, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue this. But then when I kept going, I'm like, fucking hell, I know what this guy's been through.
Yeah, like, say what you will about some of the writing quality for Persona 5's story. When it nails its confidants, it nails them.
Exactly. Like, it really does. Hifumi's is definitely one of my favorites because they explore it in, like, just to bring that up real quick back to the episode, they explore it here a little bit, how her mother's trying to force this idea of her becoming popular and yada 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 for the sake of her mother. And, you know, like, the only thing Hifumi really is good at is playing shogi.
I love how serious Hifumi gets when does the whole anime like.
Oh, that pose was fucking awesome.
Yeah, but
one thing I was taken a little by surprise by is that they didn't actually mention her father in the anime.
No, they didn't. But then again, I'm pretty sure that might get brought up later. I mean, this is only one of the first times Ren speaks to her.
Point.
Yeah. What I do like about can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. What I do like about Hifumi's, like when we're actually talking about Hifumi here, is we did get glimpses of her before. Like, we saw her in the studio, we know that she's famous, we saw her that she was in the church when interrupting Ren and Yusuke doing the modeling thing, and we saw her in the beach too. So, what I do like, and actually sincerely wish they did this with Haru, they actually do foreshadow Hifumi having, like, some kind of story, and all throughout it, there's just little tidbits here and there that all culminate together into this episode, and probably going to be flushed out later on. I like the way Hifumi was handled.
I especially like how, like, Ren just runs into her when she's, like, after she got, like, you know, after she was done talking to her mother and such, and Hifumi recognizes him from, you know, Ren's helping her out at the beach.
Yeah, and that's what I like, because it does logically lead up to Hifumi actually talking about what she's having problems with, or most of stuff of her life, because, well, she knows Ren from before.
Exactly, and Ren even offers that if she wants to talk, if she wants someone to talk to, that he's willing to listen. I mean, that is something Ren has always been good with, as he's shown off with An, even back when An didn't want to talk with him. At best, he's at least able to give an ear.
Yeah.
Is this episode also? I can't tell. Is this episode also technically the start of Haru's confidant as well?
No.
I think they talked about a little bit of it, where they said it's like the company is starting to be divided. I think that's part of her confidant.
No.
Yeah, I think it is.
A little, yes, but...
So Ren's a fucking cheater again.
Will you stop it?
Come on, I am so pissed off about that, just because of the way they paced out these confidants and the anime getting away with this bullshit, and I'm not gonna let the anime get away with that.
Yeah, but we still don't know if Ren has max proficiency yet, so
he probably does at this point. Like, if you saw the P4 animation, it showed like use stats increasing between each of the breaks.
And speaking of Haru, I love the nice little detail they add where she's listening in on the conversation between Ren, An, and Shiho.
Yeah, that was good. That was a nice touch, because again, like, if you notice, every single character got some reason or another for why they can't give up as the Phantom Thieves.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Like some kind of reason, and I like that. Like, that's something that I really like, because it reminds me of Persona 3's movie. Because, just to explain it real quick, in Persona 3's movie, the final one, after they learn that the end of the world is going to happen, everyone falls into a very bad depressive slump. Like, they don't care anymore, they don't know what to do anymore. Hell, to the point that Yukari gets so bad that she stops eating for days on end and ends up what's the word?
Malnourished.
Malnourished, and ends up in the hospital. Not joking. Hell, she even has like this vision of her persona going berserk on her.
And also speaking of Haru, one thing that I also liked, I thought was a nice touch, is that at the beginning of the episode we actually see her in the hospital.
Yeah, that was a nice
Yeah.
that was a nice touch because we see the doctors trying to save her father, but to no success.
I totally forgot now since it's been a while since I played the game. But do they bring up the whole cardiac arrest in the game as well?
Yes, they do. In
Yes, they
text
do.
messages. But it's just
Wow.
Haru doesn't respond because she's gone for a couple of days. Remember, attending to funeral arrangements and such. Remember, the day she comes back to the group to at least talk with them is when she finds out about the calling card in Kobayakawa's office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so beyond that, I don't think there's much else in terms of differences, and we're about an hour in, so...
Yeah, we talked the shit out of this episode.
Yeah. So now
I know the sad thing is the stuff I did want to rant about, Cole pretty much covered for me.
Rip.
What can I say?
Rip.
But how about that?
Yeah. The one thing I wish the anime did add was since this problem months, I wish they did add how On met Shiho for the first time with the whole painting thing.
Yeah. Wait.
Did they bring that up? I don't think
No.
they did.
No, I don't think they did.
No, they didn't. But
It
anyways.
might be next episode or when they actually finish up.
It's just like your painting sucks.
Oh wait, that's something I wanted to bring up as well. That was a cool little idea that they had literally Shiho come to the school thanks to An, and the reason she wanted to come to the school was because she wanted to go to the roof where she attempted to commit suicide. That was an interesting detail that they added, quite honestly.
Yeah, though I'm gonna be honest, Nelson, I don't know why, but I thought it was a bit more, maybe because you actually played the comp all the way through, but I thought it was a bit more impactful in the game.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can see that too.
But anyways, we're an hour in. We need to actually get to the final part of this. So now,
Alright.
so now we're on to, is this a good episode for casual watchers and fans? So Dean, take us off.
I think casual watchers are gonna have like a good time with this one because this is definitely where the Persona 5's case of where the shit hits the fan, where we actually do see like the turning point for the Band of Thieves and how the drama starts acting up. So I think they're gonna be hooked on that, especially knowing on who the next palace is gonna be.
Well, we can pretty much say Psy's Palace. And
Yeah,
Yeah,
we know who it is. 'Cause-
We know who it is. I just meant as like who they're gonna find out who it is. It's the person that we've been interviewed by
you know
throughout the
something?
whole thing.
You know something though? I really wish they left the translation alone. Like they didn't say who the calling card was to until like she said your target was Sai Nijima. Because like in the game when she said it like that, I was immediately like, wait, what?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she didn't say it. She said your latest exploit, the one that you thought that would lead to proving your innocence, and then she just says it like that, like it was addressed to Sai Nijima, myself,
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
and like the way she said it in the game was far more impactful. Like it really made me say like, wait, what?
But she kind of says it so nonchalantly in the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like from the game, and it's just like it. It's a total surprise. But anyway,
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to bring that one tidbit up.
it's a good detail though. So for fans of the game, or folks who have played the game, I'm not entirely certain on how they would feel about this, actually. Maybe they would like some of the parts because I did appreciate the tidbits for Ren's character, which is something that we can't experience in the game and more experience in the anime. And to the episode's credit, they did a very good job with it. And I did like how a lot of the animes do tie up most of their confidants, but I'm not entirely certain because we've mostly seen most of this stuff before, and all it is just how it's connected together, and that really just depends on how people interpret it. Personally, I thought it was handled pretty well, but some people might say that they should have handled more confidants a bit better, like Anj, for instance.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's where I stand. It'll probably be mixed for folks that played the game.
Cole?
Okay, I'm like sweating in here, so I'm just gonna try and make this quick. What?
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 There's no AC in my office because the door's closed and the fan's not doing its job.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Trust me. I have my fan on low right now, so it doesn't get picked up by the mic.
I want
Thanks.
to return to my room and my air conditioning.
Thanks, Heatwave.
Oh yeah,
This heat's been terrible. I feel so bad for you, Nelson, considering New York's probably worse.
Fuck.
Okay, so for casual viewers, I genuinely think casual viewers are going to really like this episode. It's a nice aftermath to the chaos that was what happened with Akumura in the previous episode. And I think they're all going to genuinely enjoy how some of these plot elements that have been brought up with Mishima, with An, etc., are starting to be wrapped up a little bit. Persona 5 fans, like Dean, I actually don't know. I think it's going to depend on if you don't mind the direct retread that was the aftermath, but also I think it's going to vary depending on how much you like certain confidants and how well you think they're handled in the game. I mean, in the anime. There are a lot of really nice touches here and there, though, so I think most people are going to at least enjoy it.
All right, Zach.
For casual watchers, just like Cole and Dean said, I think they'll really like it with the whole aftermath thing, and they might be interested, seeing where this is gonna go now. The story is really picking up, so yeah, I like it. For Persona 5, yeah, I like these two. I'm not sure. I think I can. I think I'll just say most fans will probably be mixed on, depending on certain confidants you like. Like me, if you really liked Aunt's confidant the game, you might be a little miffed about it here. But then again, we'll see what happens later in the future if they return to that. Though I will say this, one thing that I could see them do in the future is basically combine the whole. It's basically combine the all the modeling stuff into one episode. I could totally see that.
I'm just gonna say this here. I'm still waiting for Yoshida to show up.
Yeah, but we'll probably see that later down the line since we are hitting later points of the animation. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see.
I will say this. I do have this theory that maybe Yoshida's and Oya's confidants might be a bit combined since they both kind of talk about the election.
That is true. They very well might.
Mm-hmm.
And a very important figure that we've been seeing on and off.
Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, as for me, casual watchers will definitely get the most out of this episode because up to this point, it's like they were cliffhangered in the previous episode, and now they're literally seeing the fall of the Phantom Thieves. They're literally seeing, like, them being screwed over by someone who set them up. We're seeing the Phantom Thieves, like, beginning to question if they should continue this, if they even have the resolve to do it anymore. But we also see plenty of, like, moments where they do regain that resolve. I mean, Ren literally says it at the very end of the episode that they're going to turn it back.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Like with the shogi game, kind of like he did with the chess game against Akechi. Like, kind of like, just showing the fact, like, yeah, it's time for us to turn the tables.
It's like, ooh, shit, son.
Yeah, apparently the way that Ren can show more badassness in the real world is when he's playing either shogi or chess.
Well, then again, it's when his resolve is, like, very strong. Like, when he has a strong resolve towards something, he kind of shows that side of him.
And I
would
guess
have laughed after he made that move and said that line to Hifumi if she basically just checkmated him on the next turn.
and it would have just ended right there.
I was about to say, I guess, unlike in the game, Ren does know how to play shogi.
Not really. It's very much likely that he does know how to play. It's just he learned by playing with her. I mean, this isn't the first time that he's playing with her. It's probably insinuated that they've played a few times now.
Yeah.
Well, remember, they play every time they meet up.
Right.
They pretty much play every time they meet up, so...
yeah, it makes...
Sorry. As for fans, I'm gonna say they're gonna be. I'm gonna say a lot of them are gonna be very middle of the road towards this episode. I feel like many of them might not find this episode to be to their liking, as I said, because of the confidencies. But I also think it's because, besides a more deep delve into Ren's character, it doesn't add all that much.
Hey, the more character to Ren, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's basically adding to 0. So
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I do, like, that's kind of one of the big things about this anime. I fucking love how they handled Ren's character. And this is the kind of character I was talking about when I was talking about a Persona 5 animation. The idea of Ren having, like, sort of 2 personalities. Like, one that he fully encompasses when in the metaverse, but then one he falls into when he's in the real world. Because, as we said, in the real world, he's quiet, he's kind of calm, but he has a strong sense of justice. It's just that he doesn't show it openly unless he, like, you know, is that confident.
Mm-hmm.
He just more tends to stay, like, very, like, quiet on things, basically.
Yep.
But when he's in the metaverse, all that goes right out the damn window. Like, he goes full in on the full badass kind of personality.
I guess another good thing about this episode, Nelson, I think as you said off the air, at least they don't try to complete like 4 confidants in one episode.
Yeah, looking at you, summer episode from Persona 4 the animation.
Ugh.
Don't even get me started, like, because Zachary was like, did they do a Persona 4? I'm like, nowhere near fucking close.
Yeah, nowhere near close.
No, nowhere close.
And I think it was 6 social links, not 4.
Wait,
Ooh.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
No, it was 4. It was 4. It was 4.
It's 4. Nurse, MILF. Grandpa. The kid. Yeah, it's 4.
God damn it, Teen.
Also gave us the epic, oh shit, that fish is huge face. So I'm okay with it.
Oh wait, not to mention you buying that fishing gear and it made it out like it was a massive moment. Just how do you make
glasses on too?
How do you make Yu Narukami look badass in fishing gear?
Glasses.
Oh right, that was like one difference we didn't bring up. Now I told you bring about the way Ren encounters Shinya is kind of different because it's not the whole metaverse thing.
No, it's just that Ren was just kind of looking at the Gunabout thing and Shinya just wanted to play. But then
Honestly, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I'm completely okay with this. And like I said, we already talked about how the thieves like can't disappear, like they're still needed. But anyway,
speaking of Shinya, I really hope they don't screw up his confidence because he's one of my favorites in the game.
Well, we'll
God, yes. Shinya's confidant is like the unexpected good confidant. They better not fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, as I was saying, fans, I think will be very middle of the road with this episode, depending on what you're looking for. But I think, generally speaking, fans of Persona 5 will be very middle of the road towards this episode. So, with that said, because we're an hour and 8 minutes in now.
God damn it.
This is about to be our second longest podcast. Fucking hell. Just
amazing.
Fucking hell. Like,
You know, it's always amazing how recently, whenever confidants come up, we just go on this whole spiel.
I know, right?
That probably explains why our podcast ended up being up so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyways, with that said, what do you think about our thoughts about this episode of Persona 5 the animation? Found a comparison that we didn't talk about? Disagree with us in any kind of way? Go ahead and leave your comments down below and we'll discuss it in the comment section. And we will see you all for the next episode, which, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I'll say that.
How about we make a deal?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to say the least. So,
Anyone with good eyes may or may not have noticed during the end credits, just before we cut to everybody walking, there's another mask. I wonder who it belongs to.
Oh boy.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, because I'm running out of voice lines anyways, so... I'm serious on that too. But anyways, till next time, guys. I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, along with.
I'm sorry. Wait, I mean, I'm DM McNaughton.
You're sorry.
I'm sorry.
For what, the comments?
The MILF
God damn
comments. Dean.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's sorry.
We're sorry.
Oh.
Oh, man.
We're sorry.
I guess that's our outro. We're sorry. God damn it, Dean. Go ahead and do your thing.
I already said it.
Alright, Cole.
I'm Cole. I ship On and Shiho.
Ooh. Well,
Dean ruined the entire thing.
well, I also ship it as well, since she says, "I love you," game.
Yeah, you're right, she does. Holy
Zach,
shit.
Zach, do your outro.
this has been Mario Fanboy.
Oh, I'm going to bed. Till next time, guys. Take care.
Fuck this episode.
What?
Yes, we called this episode. All of us said that we liked this episode, and then Zach at the very end says, "Fuck this episode." What a complete 180.
Oh my god.